Good morning, Japan. You're watching Tokyo Broadcasting Station, sponsored by Wahaha Water. Today is September 7th, 1901. Currently, the weather is... Hold on. I'm just getting word of some very important breaking news. The uprising of what is now being called the Boxer Rebellion has officially come to an end today thanks to Japanese and other countries' militaries in the siege of the international legions in Beijing. Negotiations have been made between the Qing Empire and the Eight-Nation Alliance. This alliance consists of Japan, Germany, France, Italy, Russia, the United Kingdom, Austria-Hungary, and the United States. The countries signed the Boxer Protocol, which outlines terms of agreement. Here to explain more about this protocol is my twin Mei Mei and some special guests in Beijing. Hello, I'm Mei Mei, reporting live from Beijing, where the Boxer Protocol has just been agreed upon. Joining me here is Mr. Li Hongzhang, who is a Chinese representative, and he has just spoken with the Japanese representatives among 7 other countries. Can I ask you a few questions today?
Of course.
Can you give us a brief history on the Boxer Rebellion, maybe some causes of why this chaos all began?
Of course. Let's see. The reasons for the Boxer Rebellion deeply took root in the fact that the Chinese were tired of other foreign outside influences getting involved with Chinese affairs. All we were asking for was to be a little more independent from the world. Other world powers were making treaties with us that were unfair and mostly benefited themselves. We felt as if they were putting us down as inferior to them, and we could not stand the mistreatment and disrespect we were receiving. The British also had control over Hong Kong, and the Japanese had taken 4 of our treaty ports after the Sino-Japanese War. Other nations were also coming into our country, trying to force their beliefs and religions on us, and we just couldn't take it anymore. But anyways, we also had a lot of other internal conflicts, such as bad harvests, and then strange combinations of both droughts and floods at times. I can't be sure, but foreign powers were to blame for these disasters, only trying to make us weaker. That was when a bunch of Chinese traditionalists began to decide that there needed to be change, and they rose up.
Is it true that your government convinced the Boxers to team up with the Qing dynasty?
Yes, our government was being controlled by anti-foreign forces, who spoke with the Boxers and told them to successfully get rid of foreigners, they must team up with the government and the Qing dynasty.
Wow, that's very fascinating. And what, may I ask, did the Qing dynasty think of these Boxers?
Well, you might be surprised to hear that the Qing dynasty actually supported the Boxers. Our campaign was very popular among our rulers because, we were fighting a worthy cause for all the right reasons. The Empress Dowager Cixi encouraged the group. In fact, she was still supporting them on June 13, 1900, when she ordered imperial forces to block the advance of foreign troops into Beijing.
That's very interesting. Thank you for your time today, Mr. Hongzhang.
No problem.
Well, folks, that's all for now. I'm Mei Mei, signing off from Tokyo Broadcasting Station. Wait, look who we have here. Hello, Mr. Jotaro. I'm Mei Mei from Tokyo Broadcasting Station. May I please ask you a few questions?
Why, yes, of course.
So, I'm just interested, what was your goal entering China?
Our main goal was to release the foreigners and Christians that were being held captive there since June 20th.
Did the Chinese people ever do anything to really frustrate the Japanese?
Oh yes, with the Chinese, they were a pain to deal with, that's for sure. These Boxers were savage. They were running and burning down shops, setting fire to places, and causing fights that led to many deaths of children. The worst part yet was when they killed the Japanese Chancellor of the Legation on June 11th. You will be dearly missed, Sugiyama.
Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that. I just have one last question. How did the rebellion get to this point with the treaty just now being signed?
Well, one of the last major and probably most famous battles occurred just last month, the Battle of Peking. I'm sure everyone remembers that. A combination of British, Russian, American, Japanese, French, and German troops all came together to relieve the city of Peking, fighting off the Chinese. I remember, it was just about a month ago, on August 4th, when troops from Tencin, over half of them being Japanese, made their way to Peking. The battle didn't go as smoothly as planned, as many of us, including the Japanese, jumped too early, and by the end it was a bunch of chaos, fighting everywhere. Now, this battle didn't officially end the war, there was still fighting afterwards, but afterwards we were able to defeat the Chinese as they were no match for all these foreign powers against it.
Thank you for your time today, sir.
Anytime.
Well, folks, that's all for now. I'm Mei Mei signing off. Back to you, Amiri. Thanks for that, Mei Mei. Now please watch this never-before-seen footage of an encounter between a Japanese soldier and a Boxer rebel.
You ready to get these Chinese rebels?
You know the plan? Haven't seen any of them Boxers, have you?
No, none of them.
Hiya! Stop! Put down your weapon!
Surrender!
No. No.
Wow, what a visual to watch. I'm joined here with Akemi, a historian who will tell us more about the Boxer Protocol.
Thanks, Amiri. The protocol was obviously opposed in China in that they had to pay reparations as well as other punishments for the rebellion. To begin with, China was forced to pay 40 million taels of fine silver, which is about 30 billion yens, over the course of 39 years with interest. The reparations were divided among the 8 nations in the alliance against China. Japan is to get 7.73% of the payments. Other punishments were that the Qing government were to allow foreign countries to base their stations in Beijing. The Chinese were also prohibited from important firearms or materials for the production of ammunition and weapons for 2 years. In the relation with the military punishments, the Taku forts, which protected troops from the enemy during wars, were to be destroyed. Also, the Boxers were being boxed out of the legation quarters, and the alliance was to occupy the quarters, in order to keep peace and to make sure no rebellion ever occurs again. In another attempt to prevent rebellion, the alliance forced the Chinese government to forever banish, and under punishment of death, any anti-foreign society. Lastly, to put the icing on the cake, all Boxer and government officials were to be punished for their actions. This protocol has definitely weakened the Qing dynasty that may lead to a weaker path in the future. So to take away from this event, just remember that if you rebel, you do not stand a chance against the powerful Japanese, and you will lose. And remember to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Thank you, and back to you, Amiri.
Thanks, Akemi, for taking the time to talk to us today about the Boxer Rebellion. We hope that you learned a lot from this segment. Stay tuned, because at 11 we will have a new segment about Japanese pop star Lee Ham, who gave a surprising show at his performance last night. Thanks a lot, Japan. See you tonight.